Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're here, you're welcome. My name is Rosina Sharon and today it has been a while since I did my face. So today we're going to do a full face makeup tutorial, and before we do that, kindly subscribe, share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be reading all of them kama kawaida, and if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. With no further ado, let us go straight into the video. So we're going to start off with the eyebrows, and we're going to brush the eyebrows up using a spoolie first before we start lining the lower side of the brow. And for lining, we're using the Davis number 3 eye pencil. I wouldn't recommend you go for a black eye pencil unless you have a very dark skin tone. And to line, we're just going to use a very little force. Make sure the sharp of the eye pencil is the edge of the eye pencil is sharp enough, and follow the exact shape of the brows. It's easier to line when you have already trimmed your eyebrows. On the upper side, we're just going to level the eyebrows. We're not going to brush them downwards, we're just leveling it, and then we're going to leave a bit of space around the inner corner before we start lining the upper side. And then to line, we're going to line more of a straight line up until where we start curving down. More of a straight line, not a very sharp curve, okay? And then to curve, we're going to curve it outwards. For the lower side as well, curve it outwards, not inwards. Then next, before we start filling in, we're just going to brush the eyebrows, to brush through the eyebrows using bar soap. So make sure the bar soap is wet, and then we're going to use the white foam. Make sure it's a bit thick, the white foam, and then that is what we're going to use to brush through our eyebrows. And then after that, we're going to press the eyebrows onto the skin. Make sure it sits on the skin, okay? And then allow for the soap to dry out completely first before you start filling in. So to fill in, I'm just using the same eye pencil we used to line, and I'm just going to fill in the areas where I feel like there is a space. Where my natural eyebrow has being seen, I'm not going to touch that area, only the areas where I feel like there is space. And then around the inner corner, we're just going to create a shadow. Okay, so we're just going to create a shadow around the inner corner. So because this is a beginner friendly tutorial, I'm not going to draw hair-like structures. So after that, to clean the eyebrows, we're going to use LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn. This is a concealer 2 shades lighter than my skin tone. And when you're applying the concealer onto the product, make sure you use it side to side. Don't dip the brush onto the product. Okay, and then when it comes to cleaning the brow, we are using a flat brush, not an angle brush, okay? Flat brush, and make sure the brush sits on your flat on your face. Don't point it at your eyebrow. And then we're leaving the inner corner a bit. Make sure you drag the concealer down as you go, and then the concealer remaining on the brush is what you're going to use around the inner corner. You can use a foundation instead around the inner corner. So to move on, before we start applying eyeshadow, we're just going to set the eyelids using an eyeshadow primer. For me, I'm using the P.Louise eyeshadow primer in the shade number 2. So we're going to start off by blending from the lower lid going up. So most of the product is concentrated on the lower lid. Up, it just goes into the concealer we used before. The eyeshadow we're going for is the Afro eyeshadow palette. I've used this eyeshadow a couple of times. I love this specific shade. So we are just going to apply that around at the outer corner, and we're using a small round fluffy brush, okay? And to do the first transition, the technique is you tap it in. Don't do circular motions, okay? We're just tapping it in up until where the eyebrow is curved. So outer corner going towards the upper lid, around the outer corner alone. And then after that, to blend in, we're going to use that brown shade from the James Charles palette, and we are going to start off at the edge of the first transition, as you can see there, and then bring it down towards the inner corner. And as we go towards the inner corner, make sure you blend it downwards, not straight, downwards, okay? And then after that, now to blend in the upper side of the transitioning shades, we're going for a more neutral shade, and we're using a bigger, fluffier brush, bigger than the brushes we used before. And for that, we're going to use circular motions. For the technique, circular motions, very little force to blend. And then after that, we're going to darken the outer corner, and we're using a dark brown shade. When it comes to darkening the outer corner, I wouldn't recommend you go for a black eyeshadow. use a dark brown, because it's just going to emphasize the pigment on the first transition you use. If you use black, it is going to overpower the first pigment you use, so use a dark brown. And then after that, we're not going to draw a cut crease, we're just going to blend in around the crease region using the very same brush we use to set the lids. And we're not adding any product, we're just blending it to avoid any creases. And then the shade we're going for the crease region is this like a nude pink shade from the James Charles eyeshadow palette, and we're just going to pack it in. So it's tap 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 for the technique. Make sure it goes to at least 3/4 of the eye in width. And then after that, we're going to use the Inglot gel eyeliner to create our eyeliner. And today I'm going to show you a new technique I love recently. Like, this is something I have been doing recently and I really love it. So the first thing, we're just going to draw a small line as close to the natural lash line as possible. And then after that, we're going to draw somewhat like a wing. And when it comes to drawing the wing, we are following the lower lash line, okay, not the upper lash line. Where the lower lash line ends, in that angle, that is what we're going to follow. And then we're going to blend it down just like halfway on the line coming down. And then after that, after the eyeliner has dried out just a little bit, not like completely dried out, we are going to blend it inwards, starting off with the brush. And then after that, we are going to use the eyeshadow shade we used to darken the outer corner with the dark brown to blend in with the eyeliner we use. So we're going to use that to blend in the Inglot eyeliner. So it's going to look like a wing, but it is merging with the eyeshadow. I don't know if you guys understand. Yes, and then after that, we're just going to use a silver glitter liner. I don't know why I went for this, but I just wanted something extra, you know. So just around the inner corner to midway, that is where we're going to apply the glitter liner. And then after that, we're going to apply our falsies, and then we're going to use an eyelash curler to curl through the lashes. And that would be it for the eye makeup. So moving on to the face, we're going to start off with the Ordinary Hyaluronic Acid. Apparently, this is a serum that works best for dry skin. So if you have oily skin, it won't work for you as much as it works for me. I have dry skin, just for reference purposes. So I'm just going to apply that all over my face to tuck in the moisture. I have very dry skin, guys. So it helps me when it comes to tucking in the moisture in my skin first before I move on to applying moisturizer. So I'm just going to massage that in all over my face and then allow it to set first before I move on to moisturizer. For moisturizing, I'm using the Cerave AM facial moisturizing lotion. Again, when I bought this thing, I thought it would be good for my skin. It is not good for dry skin. This Cerave AM moisturizer is not good for dry skin. It is best for oily skin. I just found out recently. So if you're using the Cerave AM for oily skin, best; for dry skin, not as good. So after the moisturizer has set is when I will move on to priming, and we're using the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. And I'm going to prime around the T-zone area. So that is around my nose. Make sure you prime around the corner or the edge corner of the nose there. Make sure you apply primer there. If you have open pores, make sure you apply primer around the open pores area, around the forehead and around your lips. Those are the major parts you apply primer on. If you have oily skin all over, make sure you prime all over your face, and then allow for the primer to set first before you move on to foundation. For foundation today, we're going high end and we're using the Nars foundation, and this one is in the shade Macao. Is it Macao? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So if you're going to use a brush, make sure you drag the foundation down with a smaller brush first and then blend it in immediately after using a foundation brush. Don't do dots all over your face first before you start blending. Okay, so start with one cheek and then go to the next one, and then like that, slowly. And then the pressure at which you use to tap in when you're blending really matters. If you use light pressure, it means you're going to get more fuller coverage. If you use too much pressure, on the other hand, that is when you start getting those lines as if it has not blended in very well. It's because you use too much pressure. And remember, the brush has bristles, so if you use too much pressure, the bristles are going to leave lines as you go. So make sure you use a very little force, and then avoid applying fresh product around the corner of the nose and your under eye. On all the areas actually you have too much texture, avoid using too much product around those areas. So that includes the smile line as well. On the forehead, start just above the eyebrow going up, so you avoid using too much product around the hairline. So next we're going to highlights, and I'm using the Illegal Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn. This is a concealer, again 2 shades lighter than my skin tone, and we're just going to apply that around the under eye, inner corner, outer corner, and then blend it in. If you're a beginner watching this, blend the concealer in immediately. Don't allow it to set fast before you start blending, because sometimes you may wait a little long, and then when you come back the concealer has already started drying out, and that is when it creates patches, and you want to avoid that. After you have already learned how to blend in, you know, you have worked on your speed, you can allow it to set fast before you start blending. So we're starting off with the under eye, and then after that we're going to the bridge of the nose, and 3 dots is enough for the bridge of the nose. 3 dots is enough. Don't apply too much concealer around the nose, especially around the corner of the nose, because that is where you have too much texture, and then you produce oil the most around those areas. So you don't want too much concealer, or rather cream, around those areas. And then after that we're just going to set using the Sacha Buttercup setting powder. And remember, if you have used a beauty blender to blend in the foundations, the concealer, all that good stuff, make sure you use the side where it has product to apply the setting powder. So what you do, you dip the beauty blender onto the setting powder, and then you blow off the excess powder on the setting on the beauty blender first before you press it into your skin. So the technique is to press it onto your skin. And guys, remember, I do not bake. On this channel we don't bake. I find baking very unnecessary. Unless you have very oily skin, baking is very unnecessary. But if you use mattifying products for oily skin, you don't need to bake as well. It just makes your skin look ashy, and I don't like that. I want my skin looking like skin at the end of the day. So we're going to set all the areas we highlighted using the concealer. So under eye, bridge of the nose, if you highlighted the forehead, go ahead and set the forehead as well. And then after that we are going to contour, and I'm using this shade from an eyeshadow palette. I'm sorry guys, but sometimes you have to be creative with it. This shade is beautiful for contouring, especially my skin. It's beautiful. So I'm going to contour around the high points of my cheeks. And when it comes to contouring the forehead, use very little product. So for contouring the forehead, we are starting from the hairline going down. Okay, not from the forehead going towards the hairline, from the hairline going down. And then to contour the nose, we're using a smaller brush, and I just start off by doing this 2 lines where the eyeshadow stops, rather, so it gives me a guideline on where exactly to line going down. And then I'm just going to follow those lines and make sure the lines are straight. Okay, the contour lines should be straight and symmetrical. And then use a cleaner brush to blend it in. Around the upper side you blend it into the eyeshadow, and then the other side you just blend it down. And then after that I'm just going to use this bronzer shade from Cara Beauty Bronze and Highlight Palette, and I'm just going to apply a bit of it just to give me color on the cheeks. Nowadays I don't go for harsh contour, I prefer bronzer over contour. And then after that I'm just going to use a clean brush to blend in my face. I don't use too much powder because I have dry skin. Guys, I have dry skin. And then after that I'm just going to set my whole face using the Golden Lip setting spray. And that is it for the face. So moving on to the lips, I'm just going to start off by lip lining using Davis number 1. This is supposed to be an eye pencil, a cream eye pencil, but I use it as a lip liner. You have to be creative. And then after you have lip lined, make sure you blend in the lip liner first before you move on to lipstick. Okay, it's very important. Don't leave the lip looking like it's just like there is a mark going through your lips. Make sure you blend it in first. And me, I just applied gloss on top of that, like a clear gloss. I did not apply lipstick per se. Nowadays I'm just in love with gloss. And then after that I'm just using mascara on my lower lash line just to make my eyes pop. And guys, look at that. I loved this look. I really love this look. I loved it. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below, guys. That would be it from me today. I love a darker lip, a darker upper lip, so you don't have to do this. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have learned something from this tutorial, and I'll be seeing you on my next video. Thank you so much for watching guys. Bye bye.